It was 7:15 a.m. in Nashville when I opened the email that shattered my world. My 1-year-old daughter, Emma, was babbling happily in her high chair, smacking her tiny hands against the tray, completely unaware that her father had just destroyed our lives with a single message. The subject line read simply, "Moving on." I almost spilled my coffee as I opened the attachment. There, on my screen, was a photo, Donald, my husband of 5 years, wrapped around a young blonde woman who couldn't have been older than 23. They were standing in front of our lake house, the vacation home we'd bought just last year, the same home where we'd spent countless weekends planning our future together. "The house is mine now," the email declared. "I've already moved in with Amber. My lawyer will be sending over the divorce papers. Don't bother fighting it, the deed is in my name." My hands trembled as I set my coffee mug down, but not from fear. No, this was something different. This was pure rage, bubbling up from deep inside me. Donald really thought he could just send me an email, serve me divorce papers, and steal our vacation home, the home I had paid for with profits from my business. He had no idea what was coming. I looked at our daughter, still innocent and happy, playing with her breakfast. Then I glanced at the framed wedding photo on our kitchen wall, Donald and me, smiling like we had the world figured out. 5 years of marriage, and this was how he chose to end it: a smug email, a stolen home, and a woman nearly half his age. I took a deep breath and picked up my phone. My finger hovered over Donald's contact information for a moment before I clicked block. Then I opened my email and typed 2 simple sentences in reply. "Are you sure about that? Better check the paperwork carefully." I hit send, blocked his email, and turned back to my daughter with a smile. Donald had always underestimated me. He saw me as the accommodating wife who'd supported his career while building my own business on the side. He probably thought I'd break down crying, maybe even beg him to reconsider. But he'd forgotten something important. I didn't build a successful company by being naive about protecting my assets. The signs were there. Looking back, I should have seen this coming. The signs had been there all along, small red flags I'd ignored because I was too busy juggling my growing business and our new baby. Donald had been making frequent business trips to the lake house over the past 3 months, claiming he needed peace and quiet to work on a major corporate merger. I'd built my company from scratch while supporting his career. When we met 6 years ago, I was already running a successful online retail business, but Donald acted like it was just a cute hobby. He loved telling people how he'd helped me turn it into something real. The truth? My business had tripled in value since we married, all through my own hard work and strategic planning. The lake house had been my idea, a perfect getaway for our family, close enough to Nashville for weekend trips but far enough to feel like a real escape. I had paid for it entirely with my company's profits, but Donald had insisted on putting his name on the deed, for tax purposes, he'd said. I'd agreed, but not before having my lawyer draft some very specific documents about the property's true ownership. Last week, Donald had been especially distant, spending hours on his phone in his home office. When I'd asked about the merger, he'd gotten defensive, snapping that I wouldn't understand the complexities of corporate finance. Rich, coming from a man whose investment portfolio I'd secretly been managing for the past 3 years. The truth comes out. I picked up Emma from her high chair and held her close, breathing in her sweet baby scent. She had Donald's eyes, but my determination. I could already see it in the way she tackled every new challenge. Looking at her now, my resolve hardened. This wasn't just about me anymore, it was about protecting her future too. I walked to my home office, Emma on my hip, and opened my laptop. Within minutes, I'd emailed my lawyer the documentation proving I had purchased the lake house. Then I pulled up the security camera feed I'd had installed at the property, another precaution Donald knew nothing about. The cameras had caught everything. Every visit, every guest, every betrayal. Amber might have been basking in her victory at the lake house, but she had no idea she was starring in a video that would feature prominently in my divorce proceedings. Just then, my phone buzzed, a text from Rachel, my assistant. "Julia, you need to see this." Attached was a link to Amber's Instagram profile. There, going back months, were dozens of photos of her with Donald. Some were even taken in our bedroom at the lake house, with her wearing my clothes, using my things. The latest post showed her flashing a massive diamond ring. My grandmother's ring. The one Donald had promised we'd give to Emma on her 18th birthday. I felt sick. This wasn't a recent affair, this had been going on since before Emma's birth. The dates on the photos matched perfectly with his business trips. Every time he'd said he was working late, every weekend he'd claimed he needed to check on the lake house. It had all been lies. The final betrayal. I opened my banking app, already feeling the dread creeping up my spine. That's when the second blow hit. The joint account where I'd deposited money for Emma's college fund was empty. Every penny. Nearly $100,000, gone. Transferred out yesterday to an account I didn't recognize. The rage I'd felt earlier transformed into something cold and calculating. I called my bank immediately. Then my lawyer. Within an hour, I had confirmation. Donald had been systematically moving money around for months, preparing for this moment. He'd even tried to access my business accounts, but failed. Those, at least, were protected by ironclad contracts and separate banking arrangements. Rachel called while I was still on the phone with my lawyer. "Julia, there's more." She sent me a series of screenshots from Amber's private Facebook page. The girl had been bragging to her friends about landing a rich older man, and how they'd planned to take his boring wife for everything she was worth. There were even messages joking about how oblivious I was, too busy with my little online shop to notice what was happening. Little did they know. That little online shop had made me a millionaire. 3 times over. Donald had no idea who he was messing with. I looked at Emma, now napping peacefully in her playpen. "Don't worry, baby girl," I whispered. "Mommy's about to teach Daddy a lesson." I placed my phone on speaker and took a deep breath, bracing myself for the storm I knew was coming. "You think you're so smart, don't you?" Donald's voice was sharp and full of anger. There was a pause before he continued. "Check your business email, Julia. My lawyers have been busy too." With a sinking feeling in my stomach, I opened my email. As I scanned the contents, my breath caught in my throat. Donald's lawyers had filed an emergency petition against me. The document claimed that my business had only been successful because of his expertise and connections. They were demanding a full audit of my company and, even worse, temporary control of my company's accounts until our divorce was finalized. I tightened my grip on the phone. "You'd really try to take my company? The company I built before I even met you?" Donald let out a cold laugh. "You built it? Who do you think introduced you to the right people? Who do you think helped you make all those corporate contacts? Face it, Julia, you wouldn't be where you are without me. Amber understands that. She knows how to be grateful." My stomach churned at the mention of Amber, his new girlfriend. My voice was steady despite my racing heart. "Think carefully about what you're doing, Donald." "Oh, I have," he replied smugly, "and while we're on the subject, my lawyers will be in touch about Emma too. You're too busy with your precious business to be a proper mother. Amber was great with kids, she used to be a nanny." His words sent ice through my veins. My daughter, Emma, he was trying to take her away from me, too. My hands clenched into fists as I fought the panic rising inside me. Before I could respond, Sarah, my lawyer, slid her laptop toward me. Her fingers flew over the keyboard as she pulled up an email. "Wait," she whispered, holding up a finger. I read the email on her screen. It was from Donald to a friend, written 3 years ago. "She won't listen to my business advice at all, says she doesn't need my help, and she's right, her company's worth more than my annual salary now. It's embarrassing." I allowed a slow, satisfied smile to spread across my face. "Donald," I said, my voice calm and composed, "I just sent something to your lawyer. You might want to check with him before making any more threats about my company." There was silence on the other end. "What are you talking about?" he demanded. "Let's just say your email archives aren't as private as you thought. Call off your lawyers, or the next email I send will be to your boss. I wonder how he'd feel about all those corporate contacts you claim to have given me." The line went silent again. Then, click, he had hung up. Sarah was still combing through Donald's emails when Rachel, my assistant, burst into the office, her face pale with urgency. "Julia, you need to see this right now." She shoved her tablet into my hands. I glanced at the screen and my stomach dropped. It was a draft press release from Donald's company, announcing his promotion to Chief Financial Officer, effective next month. Suddenly, everything made sense. The timing of his affair with Amber, his aggressive legal tactics, even his moves with our accounts. This wasn't just about leaving me. He had been strategically cleaning house before his big promotion. securing assets and minimizing what he would lose in the divorce. There's more, Rachel said as she swiped to another document. Amber isn't just some random girlfriend, she's the CEO's niece. The revelation hit me like a punch to the gut. This wasn't love, this was calculated. Donald had orchestrated a relationship with Amber to secure his promotion. The stolen money, the lake house, even the threats about Emma, it was all part of his plan to start his new life as CFO, with his well-connected young wife by his side. Sarah looked up from her laptop. Julia, I found something else. The company merger, Donald's been working on it. It involves one of your biggest business competitors. If he becomes CFO, he'll have access to information that could seriously damage your company. My hands curled into fists. Donald wasn't just trying to take my business, he was trying to destroy it. I thought about all the late nights he spent in his home office, claiming he was working on merger documents. Had he been accessing my business files instead? Check my home network activity, I instructed Rachel. Focus on any attempts to access my business servers. While Rachel got to work, Sarah unearthed another damning piece of evidence. Look at these emails between Donald and Amber from 6 months ago. They were planning this before Emma was even walking. Amber wrote, "Once you're CFO, we can use the insider information to push Julia's company out of the market. Uncle Robert says he'll help." I felt sick. They had been plotting against me while I was caring for our newborn daughter. But they had been sloppy. They had left behind a digital trail that could ruin not just Donald's promotion but the CEO's reputation as well. Rachel's voice cut through my thoughts. Found it, multiple attempts to access your business servers from Donald's laptop. He didn't get through your security, but he tried. That's corporate espionage, I whispered. I turned to Sarah. Draft an email to the board of directors. Include evidence of Donald's attempted corporate espionage and the CEO's involvement in using insider information to target a competitor. Attach the security footage of Donald stealing company assets from the lake house. What about Amber? Rachel asked. I smiled grimly. Oh, I think the board will be very interested in how their CEO used a family member to orchestrate corporate espionage, don't you? Just as Sarah was preparing to send the email, my phone buzzed with an alert from the lake house security system. Donald was back, and he wasn't alone. Amber and her uncle, Robert, the CEO, were with him, carrying boxes inside. My belongings, no doubt. Wait, I said, watching the live feed. Let's see what they're doing first. The security cameras provided crystal clear audio, another feature Donald had overlooked. They were celebrating, champagne glasses in hand. To the future CFO, Robert toasted. And to my beautiful niece, who helped make it all happen, Donald laughed. Julia has no idea what's coming. Tomorrow morning, the board announces my promotion, and by afternoon, our legal team will have control of her company's accounts. Within a month, her business will be worthless. And the best part, Amber chimed in, she thinks the lake house is her biggest problem. Wait until she finds out about the offshore accounts. My breath caught. Rachel, what offshore accounts? Rachel's fingers flew over the keyboard. Her expression darkened. Found them. Donald's been funneling money from your joint accounts into offshore holdings for months, $300,000 and counting. This was bigger than I had realized. Donald had been systematically stealing from our family. But then Robert said something that made my blood run cold. Once Julia's company tanks, our merger goes through smoothly, her market share will be split between our subsidiaries. I had heard enough. Send the email, I said, and attach the file labeled insurance. Minutes later, police cars pulled up to the lake house. Turns out, corporate espionage and financial fraud are serious crimes. Who knew?